on This Week in Iowa, what's going on with the Farm Bill? Then we're getting to the bottom of the fuzzy math of Medicaid. Plus, how are Iowa pork producers feeling about tariffs from President Trump? And we'll check in with the leaders in Iowa's medical marijuana program. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on This Week in Iowa. I'm Sabrina Ahmed. Are Iowa taxpayers getting a good deal by the state switching from public Medicaid to privately managed care? Some state leaders aren't convinced with the fuzzy math from the Department of Human Services, so a group of them met with Medicaid leaders this week to talk about what's going wrong. Democrats we spoke to afterwards say the savings numbers still don't quite make sense.
Medicaid is complex, so it's not an easy thing, and if you talk at 10,000 feet, most people are just going to nod and say that's how it is. But you really got to get into the weeds to figure out where the savings are. Because if it's just about reducing services and not paying providers, that's not going to help anybody, and in the long term, it's not going to be good for Iowa.
Right now, the state auditor is reviewing the data behind the savings statements. We won't know what she finds until she releases her report to the public. We'll have more on that in just a few minutes. Meanwhile, net neutrality rules are rolling back. The Federal Communications Commission voted to repeal the Obama-era regulations in December, but that actually went into effect this week, and it has a lot of Iowans talking. The change means large companies like Comcast and Verizon can, if they so please, speed up, slow down, or even block specific websites. Political analyst Gary Nordlinger says these new rules could affect the way internet providers do business.
I mean, that's one of the big fears. If you want to have access to Facebook and LinkedIn and some of these others, are they going to charge you a social media surcharge? We just don't know.
The FCC chairman says the new rules will provide unrestricted access to online content minus the burden of regulation. The Senate did pass a bill to keep net neutrality. That happened back in May, but the bill is still waiting on a vote in the House. Here's another hot topic in Congress this week. That's the Farm Bill. A group of senators gave it the green light this week. It has bipartisan support in the Senate, but lawmakers on both sides are gearing up for a fight over in the House. The Senate version renews farm safety net programs, aims to fight the opioid crisis, and helps veterans get started in agriculture. The House version re-examines work requirements for the SNAP program. We need to take a quick break, but coming up next, we're speaking to a woman who heard those Medicaid numbers during the DHS meeting this week. What does she think of the math?
Tuesday, Will and Grace star Deborah Messing. But next, Terry, America Ferrera is here sharing some personal home videos.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning and you were saying, please help, let us out.
Then, can these kids identify these things from the past?
Listen really closely and tell me if you recognize this sound.
And from homeless to hairdresser, how this lady turned her life around.
Please bless me and my children with somewhere to stay.
Monday at 3 on Local 5.
Come on over to Adventureland. You're gonna have a fun-filled day.
Enjoy all of Adventureland's rides, shows, and attractions, including Bernie's Barnyard Kids Area coming in June. The Monster and Adventure Bay. Fun for the whole family. 2 great parks, all for one low price. Open daily at 10 a.m. in Des Moines.
Come on over to Adventureland. You're gonna love it at Adventureland.
Alexa, give me my Local 5 news headlines.
I'm Local 5's Sabrina Ahmed with today's top stories.
Set up your flash briefings by adding the We Are Iowa skills to your Alexa app.
You'll hear Local 5's top news stories updated 4 times a day.
And plan your day with We Are Iowa's most accurate weather team, as I tell you if you need this or these.
Go to weareiowa.com/Alexa for easy setup instructions.
Alexa, tell me We Are Iowa's most accurate forecast.
I'm Local 5 meteorologist Taylor Canoes.
Season 2 is coming.
Who's ready to be the next American hero?
From big cities to small towns. Come out to audition and live out your dream.
You're going to
Welcome back, everyone. I am joined now by Phyllis Hansel, who is a member of the Department of Human Services Council, and we are here to talk about the transition from the publicly managed Medicaid to privately managed care and the claims that the state has of saving millions of dollars. So first of all, Phyllis, thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here.
Can you explain to me what the council that you're on does and what its role is in this transition.
Yes. We have 6 members on the council for the Department of Human Services, and they are all private citizens who live all over the state. We are appointed by the governor. I was appointed by Chet Culver and then was reappointed by Branstad. So I've been on the council for quite a while. And it takes a while to understand. This is the Department of Human Services is the largest department in the state. Our budget is $6 billion. And it really, I would not pretend that I have my arms around the whole thing even yet, but that's our charge, to try to manage and help manage that department. We are not policymakers. The legislature and the governor decide on the policy. Our role is as an advisory group to oversee the functioning of the department, and we have been given, and for their rules and regulations. The legislature makes the law, and then the department tries to translate that into rules and regulations, and we oversee that process and offer suggestions. We have also been tasked by the legislature to perform an oversee function for the new managed care program for Medicaid.
And this week you met with Director of Medicaid, Mike Randall. He was there to outline the reasoning and kind of the math behind the numbers, saying that Iowa is in fact saving millions of dollars because it switched from that publicly funded Medicaid to this privately managed care. Tell me what you think of Director Randall's reasonings, and tell me what he said in that meeting.
Well, you know, also I think as I hope, as most of the citizens of Iowa know, this program serves 600,000 of our fellow citizens. And the managed care program came in 2015. And what we hope is that we're going to have, I mean, it is everybody's goal, I think, to have quality health care for poor and disabled Iowa citizens, and to have it be sustainable. It is no news to anybody that health care costs have exploded, and it's everybody's. I think whether you're in Medicaid or not, you know, everybody's worried about the cost of health care. So the goal was to try to have managed care come in and make this a sustainable program. It takes Director Randall came in January. So he's somewhat new to us and new to the council. He ran the Medicaid program in Kansas.
Right.
And he came in saying to us, and we have asked, I think everybody's very interested in, well, what are we saving and what are the numbers, and give us something to hold on to. And he indicated at the beginning that he thought a certain amount of time had to pass before those numbers could be solidified enough so that you're comparing apples to apples. That's what he said he was doing this week. I'm not an accountant. He gave an oral report to the council, to the department, and I have asked for a written report so that I can get some counsel to help me figure out the correctness of the analysis. I am, at this point, don't know enough to say that the procedures were ones we would support. I don't know. At this point, he says, though, we have saved $141 million, approximately. You're getting numbers that big and you're talking approximately, for the state. That's significant. I certainly hope that's the case. We, as I said, sustainability is a primary concern. And I think that, you know, if he is correct, even if it's not that much, we're all going to be grateful to have that happen.
When can you expect that written report?
Well, I don't know. I asked for it yesterday. I would say the department is always extremely responsive to when the council asks, so I would expect that within days.
And so some of the Democrats are saying, you know, there are just too many unknowns here. Do you think that that written report will really answer some of those unknowns for you and help to really get down into the weeds here?
Well, you know, I hope so. Everybody is eager for solid numbers on the fiscal situation. I think you also know that one of the legislators has requested the state auditor to audit the program. And frankly, I should also say that I can only speak for myself on the council. I'm not the council spokesperson. I'm just the private citizen and speaking for myself. But I think it is the sense of certainly everybody I know on the council and the department director as well, we welcome that audit. I mean, why wouldn't we want to know? And they have the CPAs that run that department, they have to follow accounting principles. I think at that point, we're going to be able to have even more confidence. I look forward to Director Randall's written report and my ability to satisfy myself about those procedures. But in addition to that, I think we welcome the state auditor's report. I mean, you know, I think we are all concerned about this. I tell you, I have deep regret that this has been politicized because, well, so many things have been politicized. And we need all hands on deck. And we need everybody cooperating to solve this problem.
Phyllis Hansel, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here.
I'm delighted to be here.
We'll take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back.
Join us every Sunday at 10 on Local 5 for the Iowa Realty Sunday Home Show, featuring new construction neighborhoods around the metro by the best builders in the market. We chat with builders and Iowa Realty professionals about open house, trends in the industry, financing information, and existing inventory. And our special Great Iowa Home feature each week showcases a luxury home listed by Iowa Realty. Now in our 34th year at 10 a.m. Sunday on Local 5 or at iowarealty.com.
Tuesday, Will and Grace star Deborah Messing. But next, Terry, America Ferrera is here sharing some personal home videos.
It's 4 o'clock in the morning and you were saying, please help, let us out.
Then, can these kids identify these things from the past?
Listen really closely and tell me if you recognize this sound.
And from homeless to hairdresser, how this lady turned her life around.
Please bless me and my children with somewhere to stay.
Monday at 3 on Local 5.
Accuracy means tracking the storm.
We do a good job of breaking it down and showing people what they can expect. It is so important to not only let you know what's happening at the moment, but to track out what's going to happen in the future. When exactly, at what time is it going to reach your neighborhood with every impact from hail to damaging winds and, of course, tornadoes. We give the information that's needed and we give it accurately. And I think people really appreciate that.
We are Iowa and it's everything to me.
This station strives to provide quality children's television programming and endeavors to meet the children's television requirements set by the FCC and the Children's Television Act of 1990. We prepare a quarterly children's television report describing each program we broadcast. We invite the public to read this report during regular business hours and comment on the educational and informational needs of children in our community. Thank you.
You're watching This Week in Iowa, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Iowa.
Welcome back, everyone. We are joined now by Dr. Howard Hill. He's a pork producer from Cambridge, Iowa, also a former president of the National Pork Producers Council. We want to talk about trade and its impact on Iowa pork producers. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
So first of all, how are pork producers in Iowa getting their information about trade negotiations, the tough tariff talks, the implementation of those tariffs?
Well, we got a lot of information last week at the Pork Expo. We had our negotiators there, and we also had USDA ag negotiators that spoke to our pork producers. Got a lot of good information.
What are you hearing?
Well, we're hearing, of course, that China has put another 25% tariff on, which really affected our market. Mexico just recently added a 10% tariff. and they are threatening another 10% the first part of July, I think July 5th.
So for the person who's sitting at home, who doesn't have a bunch of hogs, 7,000 like you do, hogs on their farm, why should they care about what these tariff talks are doing for you as a pork producer in Iowa?
Well, because agriculture is so important in Iowa, and animal agriculture particularly important, it would affect our overall state economy. We export about 27% of all the pork that's raised in the United States. And our number one market is Japan by value. Number one market is for volume is Mexico, and our number 4 market is Canada. So NAFTA, which is the United States, Mexico, and Canada, are extremely important for us.
So talk to me about, as the negotiations continue for NAFTA, what are you hoping to see?
Well, what we've asked the administration to do is to resolve these issues as quickly as possible. We would like to either have a bilateral with Mexico or back to a trilateral, the NAFTA, and also with Canada. We've also asked the administration, we'd like to be back in TPP because that would give us an opportunity to have free trade with 11 other countries.
Do you think that's going to happen, though?
I'm confident that NAFTA or bilaterals with Mexico and Canada will eventually get done. What's hurting pork producers is not knowing when. The longer it drags on, the more financial damage it does to pork producers.
So talk to me about what it's doing for you at your farm. How does it prohibit you from being able to move forward and maybe look to not just the end of this year, but next year and how you're going to operate?
Yeah, well, anybody that's thinking about expansion is probably having second thoughts right now, not knowing what the future is going to be. When the Chinese tariffs went on, the market dropped. Now, the market has recovered significantly since then, but we don't know what the market would have been had we not had the Mexican tariffs and the Chinese tariffs. So I think pork producers a bit of anxiety right now, but I think we're also hopeful. And we kind of understand why the administration is doing this, too, because we have some unfair practices in trade that need to get rectified.
I believe that President Trump said you are being patriots, right?
We're being patient.
If you could sit in a room with President Trump right now and talk to him about this, what would your message be to him? What would you want him to take away from that conversation?
I would want him to hear from pork producers that we understand, but we need to get these negotiations past us and not drag them out for a long period of time because of the damage it does to the ag economy here in Iowa.
Okay. Dr. Hill, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We'll take a short break, everyone. Lots more ahead, so stick with us.
At Local 5 on your side means answers to your questions.
And we're just doing the stories that the community wants us to do, to empower you with something as a viewer that you can move forward with.
What drives these people to go above and beyond and be exceptional Iowans? That's stuff we can all use in our own lives.
To be able to be that line of connection for people is huge to them. And they can reach out to Local 5, and they're going to get answers.
We are Iowa, and it's everything to me.
This station seeks groups that regularly send information about work opportunities to job applicants or that have applicants to refer. If your group would like to receive notification of job vacancies at our station, contact us by U.S. mail, email, or by calling 457-9645. Individuals interested in employment in the broadcast industry are encouraged to visit weareiowa.com for a list of current job openings. Nexstar Broadcasting Companies are an equal opportunity employer.
Alexa, give me my Local 5 news headlines.
I'm Local 5's Sabrina Ahmed with today's top stories.
Set up your flash briefings by adding the We Are Iowa skills to your Alexa app.
You'll hear Local 5's top news stories updated 4 times a day.
And plan your day with We Are Iowa's most accurate weather team, as I tell you if you need this or these.
Go to weareiowa.com/Alexa for easy setup instructions.
Alexa, tell me We Are Iowa's most accurate forecast.
I'm Local 5 meteorologist Taylor Canuse.
As soon as you play, I'm playing. I'm saying my first drum, second's your first beat. I'm saying first, you 2 feet, then we might stand up like first you get your hands, then I get your hands. Up my sound, your throat, my dance, your feet. You hear my no heartbeat. The metronome in your chest keeps you in time till there's no time. So you sing till you got no breath, and whoever's next dances to the song you've left. Music creates movements, inspire movements. Where I am, you've been. There was you, then there was music. Music follows you.
You're watching This Week in Iowa, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Iowa.
Welcome back, everyone. We are ending our show with Randy Mayer, who is the director of the Office of Medical Cannabidiol, and Rebecca Lucas, a scientist working on the project for MedPharm Iowa, that is the producer of medical marijuana in our state. So, Randy and Rebecca, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
We greatly appreciate it. We're here to talk about the medical cannabis law in Iowa. It passed in 2017. It will be for sale by December 1 of this year. Of course, we toured the facilities back in March. This is video of the growing facility about 3 months ago now. I would imagine it looks quite a bit different. Rebecca, start by just giving us an update on where the program is now, along with the growing facilities. Where is the plant in process, all that?
Absolutely. So, different than the video shows now, we are quite a bit more built out. The plants are within their specific chambers for where they are in their growing process. Right now we are entering phase 3, which basically means we are starting to build out on the labs, which would equate to extraction, post-extraction, and packaging within the manufacturing facility.
So MedPharm will have 2 of the 5 dispensaries as well in our state. So what's the status of those?
So they are both in early build-out. Leases are fine, and we are very excited to be in both Windsor Heights and Sioux City.
Now, Randy, can you talk to us about the process? Because only MedPharm has 2 of the 5 dispensaries. That leaves 3 dispensaries not owned by MedPharm. So how do the products that MedPharm is creating get to the other 3 dispensaries? And I understand that there's also potentially for another growing facility that was in the works as well.
That's right. So right now we have applications open for the second manufacturer, and we hope to announce that by July 1st. The legislation gives the authority only to the manufacturers to transport, so they will be responsible for getting the products to the dispensaries. We also will have a take-back program at the dispensary, so if someone wants to turn their medications back in, get it out of their house, they can take it back to the dispensaries, and then the manufacturers will pick it up and destroy it from there.
Randy, talk to me about the process to ensure that MedPharm, all the dispensaries, are operating under Iowa code.
So we will do regular inspections. In fact, we're doing our first inspection of the manufacturing facility today as we speak. So we have staff who are looking at all of the regulations and making sure that they are following each of them. And then if there are any things that they need to change, we will ask them to do an action plan and respond to that.
Is there some sort of a tracking system to know seed to sale, where the plant is, where this pill or this whatever medicine that you get came from?
Exactly. So we were required to get a seed-to-sale tracking system for the state. The manufacturer has their own as well, and so the 2 will talk electronically to let us know exactly what's going on in their facility at all times.
Cool. So 500 people, patients or primary caregivers, have asked to be recipients of this medicine in our state. 500, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Were you expecting more than that, Rebecca?
You know, the program is really in its infancy here in Iowa. I think 500 is a very good number for where we are right now. We do have a range where we would like it to be at, but whether it's 1 or 12,000, we just want to make sure we're getting good quality products that work for patients out there. So.
But is 500 really sustainable in order for MedPharm Iowa to continue to prosper and for these other growing facilities to continue to prosper?
Well, because there is a fee associated with getting that registration card and getting signed up, we expect that people are going to wait until closer to December 1st to really start signing up. So most programs in other states have seen a lot of ramping up as soon as the program is open and they can see what products are available. So we really expect in the first year to grow quickly.
So anecdotally, I've spoken to, I can't tell you on 2 hands how many stories I've done to try to teach the public about what's happening with our law. And anecdotally, I still talk to so many people who have no idea that it's even passed. So what are both the Department of Public Health and MedPharm Iowa doing to increase education just so Iowans even know that it exists?
I think in collaboration and definitely in partnership, we have a few education I would say levels. One is education of community. Actually, we plan to have some community education events. If people go to MedPharm Iowa's website, they can sign up for the newsletter that lets them know when those are. Also, a big push will be the physician education. I think that's so important to get physicians on board with this program to let them know how to talk to their patients. And also then it'll be more legislative education as well.
That's right. And the department's role, we've been focusing on the providers, the medical providers. So we've been going out and speaking at conferences and conventions to talk a lot about the program and how we're implementing it. We're going to have some education on our website as well, where you can go. We'll essentially endorse some CEUs that physicians can go and attend and get some education about how it works and how medical cannabis can be used.
And of course, it's continuing education. So, Rebecca, just to wrap up, what is MedPharm Iowa's long action plan, since the plan to increase the cap on THC from 3% and also increase the number of ailments that are eligible for this medicine failed this last legislative session? What's the plan going forward?
Well, we continue to be champions and advocates for the patients of Iowa, so we've already thought of our legislative plan. We've been thinking, how can we make this program better? And I think a lot of this education will help the program in Iowa.
Thank you very much, both of you, for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Short break, and we'll be right back.
I thought I was managing my moderate to severe ulcerative colitis, but I realized something was missing. Me. The thought of my symptoms returning was keeping me from being there for the people and things I love most. So I talked to my doctor and learned Humira can help get and keep UC under control when other medications haven't worked well enough. And it helps people achieve control that lasts, so you could experience few or no symptoms.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common. And if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores, don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Be there for you and them. Ask your gastroenterologist about Humira. With Humira, control is possible.
Hey, let's check out this park. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. At Homes for Our Troops, we build specially adapted mortgage-free homes with features like wheelchair access and pull-down cabinets that allow them to focus on their recovery and family. We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
We want to thank you for joining us right here on This Week in Iowa, and a special thank you to all of our guests for taking the time to educate us on Medicaid, trade, and of course medical marijuana. We'll continue to cover these issues and other big headlines impacting the political scene in our state. We hope to see you again next Sunday.